Hello and welcome to our December Tuesdays with Lecture Series sponsored by the Friends of the Georgetown Library. My name is Bob Willey and I have the privilege of serving as president of the Friends, and this has just been a very special opportunity to be able to share in this creative and different kind of a way our lecture series in our fourth season of providing outreach to the community. Tuesdays with, that comes from a 1997 bestseller by Mitch Albom, Tuesdays with Maury, a wonderful story of the relationship between a student and a professor that went far beyond college years into the adult years. And that's what our series is all about. It's that opportunity to be able to continue to learn, to share, to be instructed, to live. And our Tuesdays with series is doing exactly that. We are being creative and different, as we've said, in so many different ways with our outreaches to the community here at the library and through the Friends. And I want to especially thank Heather Pelham and Truman Wynn, who are our technology people today, who are allowing us to be able to present this to you both by live streaming, and then later, if you pick it up, on recorded there on the library's website. Today, Tuesday with Gloria Barr Ford. What a special privilege it is for us to be able to have Gloria with us, to be able to share today. Gloria is, and I love the description that is found on her website, mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, cousin. Now we start with the personal relationships and then move to playwright, storyteller, historic reenactor, gospel singer, journalist, dramatist, radio minister, and a retired, we checked on this to make sure, administrative assistant at Coastal Carolina University. What a great resume that is. Beautiful, well-rounded resume. She grew up in the North Santee community here in Georgetown County and spent much of her younger years at the side of her great-grandmother, who spoke fluent Gullah, and in addition to that, shared many, many stories, going all the way back to her childhood as a slave. What an amazing experience that would be. Gloria is an ordained itinerant elder and a licensed evangelist, a member of the South Carolina Arts Council, and author of a beautiful book of poetry entitled Empowered by the Spirit. Today, she'll be sharing with us a Gullah Christmas. What a wonderful way to celebrate this December together, a Gullah Christmas. So please, we welcome Gloria Barr Ford. Thanks so very much for sharing with us today.
Thanks so much for having me today. It's a privilege to be here. And first of all, let me say to you all, Hahana Fadu. And in Gullah, that means, how are you doing? Usually, I would say, Galite or Gwine boat, which means, I'm doing well. So, my great-grandmother was a Gullah woman. Long dresses. She wore the headdresses to headdresses. She wore aprons. All of her aprons had little holes all over them. And the reason those aprons had those little holes all over them, my great-grandmother smoked a corncob pipe. So she would drop fire on her aprons. Now, we lived in an area, like Mr. Willie said, called North Santee, which is about 15 miles south of Georgetown. And every morning, my great-grandmother would take her walks. Now, some mornings she would have to take me along because the rest of my family members would be in the cotton fields picking cotton. I was too young to pick cotton. So on the mornings when she had to take me along, she grumbled, which meant she complained. That's Gullah for complain. She grumbled because she said I walked too slow. So when we got to walking and she was ahead smoking that pipe and humming her tune, she would glance back over her shoulder, and there I was. She said I was walking too slow. And so she would scold me. She scolded me in her Gullah tongue. And she would say, Koya gal, let's go. Come on, girl, hurry up, let's go. And I loved being with my great-grandmother. Even though she died while I was still young, my great-grandmother lived to be 117 years old. And then I went to live with my grandmother, her daughter. My grandmother was also a Gullah woman. She wore the same type clothes. She wore the long dresses, the headdress, and everything. And but she was very strict and very religious. So every night at my grandmother's house, we had to have devotions. Devotions consisted of her reading to me from that big black Bible. She later bought me a Bible story book for children because I could read. So after we got done with our readings, we would have to kneel beside the old bed And after we got done kneeling beside the bed, saying our prayers, we would have to do what you call a kutchie. And the kutchie is where we would just give thanks to the Lord for having us to live through another day. And then my grandmother would always close us out with one of her favorite songs. And she would do something like, every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Up on the mountain, my Lord spoke, out of his mouth come fire and smoke. I look all around me, and around me shine. I ask the Lord if all this mine. Every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, moving in my heart, moving in my heart, I will pray. It was always a privilege being also with my grandmother. She was a great storyteller. She told us stories, and during Christmas time, it was always a special time for us. And I've got a poem here, and it's all about Christmas from my book, Empowered by the Spirit. And it says, when Christmas came to our house, it was such a special time. The sounds of Christmas in the air, the smell of fresh cut pine, brought from the woods on my father's shoulders strong, the days before that seemed so long when Christmas came. When Christmas came to our house, the story oft was read of baby Jesus on the hay, a manger for a bed. The sweetness of the angels' songs as they proclaimed a child was born, and the splendor of that Christmas morn when Christmas came. When Christmas came to our house, early at the dawning, we made our way from restless beds, joyous visions in our heads, to greet that Christmas morning. Though we were poor, we couldn't ask for more when Christmas came. When Christmas came, oh, the joys of simple toys, all smartly placed for good girls and boys. And in each child's requested place, on faded chairs of red brocade, such awe was never made, as we by neighbors did our toys parade when Christmas came. When Christmas came to our house, bringing gifts of love, we knew the reason for the season came only from above. The peace of God upon us in the presence of his Son, the pure and the precious Holy One, when Christmas came. When Christmas came to our house, if we could have our say, we'd hold forever to the day's short stay and never let it go away. The greatest gift of Christmas is the love that it imparts. For though Christmas left from our house, the gift lingered in our hearts. And Christmas was always a very special time at our house. My father did most of the baking, and like I said, we were poor. We lived in the country, and on Christmas Eve, we had to go to bed really, really early. And on Christmas morning, we got up really, really early. My father had to make the fire in what we call the old Ironside chimney. And he would make the fire, and he would have our breakfast all cooked. And we would, get up, and like I said, our toys were placed on the old brocaded chairs and everything. And we would rush in there to see those toys, which weren't much, but they were toys. My father, my mother always provided us with something for Christmas, along with the fruits and the nuts and the candies and everything. But we could never touch anything until we got down on our knees and our Father led us in the Lord's Prayer. and then he would tell us the Christmas story. And to me, that's always something special, always in my heart. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. A Gullah Christmas. Gullah is the mother tongue of the African people. It is a mixture of the various African dialects and the English language. When the slaves came over from Africa, they came from various tribes or communities, and they all had different dialects, like Fandango, Bende, Yoruba, Gullah, and they couldn't understand each other. And when they got to the plantations, such as, say, Boone Hall Plantation over in the Mount Pleasant area, and they had the masters or the owners that spoke English. That was another problem again. Here they were in a strange land, having to learn a new way to communicate. But Dr. Lorenzo Dow Turner, he was a linguist, and he also, and he was black, and he wanted to research the language, and he did so, and he traced it all the way back to the Angola tribe in West Africa, and hence the name Gullah. So he wrote a book about it called Africanisms in the Gullah Dialect. And he's always been a very special person to me. If you read that book, Africanisms in the Gullah Dialect, it tells you all about the Gullah and all about the people. And so the American version of The Night Before Christmas, I'm sure many of you know that, was written by Clement C. Moore. He wrote it in 1949. And he began it by saying, it was the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Now that word St. Nicholas means, of course, Santa Claus, and he talked mostly about Santa Claus. And I brought a book with me, and it is called The Gullah Night Before Christmas. And this book was written by Dr. Virginia M. Garrity. And Dr. Garrity was a professor at the College of Charleston. And I got to speak with her a little bit before she went home to be with the Lord. And I really love this book. And it is called The Gullah Night Before Christmas. And in this book, Dr. Garrity does not use Santa Claus. She uses a rabbit. And the rabbit is called Barabbas Santa Claus. Barabbas Santa Claus. And here's how it begins. It been the night before Christmas, when inside we house, everything settled down, even the mouse. The company done left from the big house at last, and the family all gone to the midnight mass. When all of a sudden, what had we Yeti? And the Yeti in the Gullah word means hear, to hear. And he's saying, all of a sudden, what had we Yeti? Can it be Santa Claus done got ya already? For true, there ain't been no reindeer hoof to prance and to paw up on top the roof. When out on the lawn, I heard such a clatter. I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Then all of a sudden, I heard on the roof the prancing and the pawing of reindeer hoofs. If this had been a hat come for make fun, I go and kill him, go and get before he can run. If this is a ghost come to make fun, I'm going to kill that ghost again before he can run. Now, this Gullah family here, they hear these reindeer hoofs on the roof, and they are kind of upset. They don't know what's going on. I grab up the fire poker and open the door and swear I ain't never been so surprised before. He said, I grabbed up the fire poker and I opened the door. I swear I was never so surprised before. You know what? The Santa Claus rabbit with the gunny sack full with Christmas gift flung across his back. Now there was Santa Claus Barabbas with his gunny sack filled with Christmas gifts flung across his back. He said, Merry Christmas, and I have to make ears, because but fox on the tail, and he done give him some cheese. The Santa Claus rabbit said, Merry Christmas, and I have to hurry, because Brer Fox is after me, and I got to scurry. He fur been all tangly with briar and dirt, and he run all the way without his shoes to his foot. His ears been a droop, and his eye still the twinkly. I have a laugh when I shum, 'cause his nose been so wrinkly. Now this Santa Claus, like I said, he's a rabbit, and his fur was all tangly, and he had briar and soot on his fur, and he ran all the way without shoes on his foot. His ears been a droop, his ears were drooping, and his eyes still yet twinkly. He have a laugh when he shum, and his nose been wrinkly. Now his eyes would be spelled Ewok, yes, just like we would do it, his eyes, and I shum means that I saw him. The word shum in Gullah means to see. So this rabbit, this Santa Claus rabbit, he had a sack on his back. He was ready to give gifts, and his fur was all tangly with briar and dirt, and he had no shoes on, and he was running from Brer Fox. Now, Santa Claus Brer Rabbit, the fox really thought he had a hold on him, and he holler to Mama, us ain't have to worry. This Santa Claus, yeah, he saw a teen and hurry. Asked Santa, how come the reindeer ain't pass? He say he left him home because he on foot most fast. Now, this gentleman, the mother, the father, when they saw the Santa Claus rabbit, and they asked him, we didn't hear anything about reindeer. And Santa Claus rabbit said, I left the reindeer at home because my feet were faster. I could run faster than the reindeer. He said he have a dust wrong and done before they clean, because the fox right behind him, and the fox, that boy is mean. He get through him in the briar patch, and he teefy present too, if he can outreach him before he get through. Now here it says that before day clean means before daylight. And I cried to my wife, we don't have to worry. This Santa Claus here is in sort of a hurry. I asked Santa, why didn't I see the reindeer pass? And he said, because I left him home because my feet are more fast. And because the fox was right behind him to throw him in the briar patch and to steal his presents too, if the fox got him before he got through. So you see, he was kind of afraid of the fox. He knew it was Christmas time, but he wasn't going to let anything keep him back from celebrating Christmas and from giving gifts. I tell Sandy the rabbit must sit and rest his feet while he going to the kitchen for something for eat. Sandy say, Tanky, have a nam real quick for the fox get ya and then nam old St. Nick. So they offered the Santa Claus rabbit something to eat, and he said, I thank you, but I got to nam him real quick. And the word nam in Gullah means to eat. And he says, you offer me some food, and I thank you, and I do want to eat it before the old fox gets here. And so I fetch him some collard green, and that's a favorite Gullah food, the collard greens, some hominy and ham, some hominy grits and ham, some homemade whole cake and syrup for Santa Claus for nam. I brought all these things for Santa to eat. Santa nam the biddle and going straight to his work. He full all the socks, then he turned with a jerk. Santa ate all of that food, which is known as biddle. That's the Gullah term for the hominy grits, biddle. Sandy ate the food and went straight to work. He filled all the stockings and he turned with a jerk. With his left hand paw, he wiped his nose. He said, Merry Christmas, and out he goes. He watch him tail and most going out of sight. He pray for the fox don't catch him this year night. That fox is really after that Santa Claus rabbit. He look up old good fashion, and when he turned around down the chimney, but fox, old deceitful man, old hound, he fur gets swinged, same like he oughta. because when he set himself down with us rain barrel water, I locked up my fashion, and when I turned around, down the chimney comes old Brer Fox, that deceitful old hound. His fur was burnt just like it should be, and he wet himself down with the rain barrel water. Now this fox, he was terrible here on Christmas time. He cussed, drat that rabbit, and figure for sure he cursed. Drat that rabbit, I figured for sure I would catch him this time before he got out the door. You know, old Brer Fox is a very smart man, and I have to try to hold him as long as I can. I have to give Santa some time to get away so the children will have presents come that Christmas day. I went and told Mama, come here real quick and talk to the fox while I go for warn St. Nick. Now, this father was very smart, and he called the wife, and he said, what I want you to do, I want you to talk to the fox, hold the fox here while I go and warn Santa about what is going on. So I ran down the road so fast, and I got to the next house before a minute passed. I lickety-split down the road so fast, and I got to the next house before a minute done passed. I bust open the door and hollered to Sandy, but Fox turned me house down, done yam all the candy. Mama going to hold him long as he can, except you know old but Fox tricky as sin. Santa Claus a rabbit take his foot in his hand and tell you that critter been a fast little man. I burst open the door and I hollered out to Sandy, the fox is at my house. He ate all of the candy. Mama is trying to hold him as long as she can, but you know about Fox, he's a tricky as sin. Santa Claus a rabbit ran as fast as only he can. I tell you that rabbit, a fast little man. I going back to the house, figure but Fox done escaped. He done tell Mama about the sour grape. He say he going now cause he half a dust wrong for catch a rabbit before he get to the town. I went back to my house thinking the fox has escaped, and he's tell Mama about sour grapes. He says he has to go now to catch the rabbit before he gets back to town. He was acting mannerable, that sly old dandy. Then he stole apples, a skyrocket, and some candy. And this old fox now, he was always ready to eat. So what he did, he acted like he was very, very kind, and he stole apples, he stole a skyrocket, and he stole some candy. He jumped up in the chimney, the fire burned down low, except his foot slipped and he hurried, and he fall back on the floor. He jumped up the chimney. The fire was burning low, but his foot slipped in his hurry, and he fell back on the floor. The children's apples that he tried to take dropped down on the hot coals and started to bake. He jumped up and tried to rise. That's when he has this big surprise. The skyrocket landed on the red-hot ember and blasted that fox clean out of December. He went to the door as quick as a flash, and I said to myself, he's going to land with a crash. Now, I figure for true, he's going to land with the crash. But I saw him climb higher and higher, just like a comet. Step up, shum, climb more higher and higher. Same like a comet with his tail on fire. Then when he get way up in the sky, he holler, Christmas gift, Lord, cause I'm coming by. This old fox now, he was shooting up here in the with the skyrocket. His tail was burning and everything, and he hollered, Christmas gift. Christmas gift is an old Christmas custom. When two people greet on Christmas Day, the first one to say Christmas gift receives a gift from the other. With his tail on fire, he went high up in the sky. He hollered, Christmas gift, Lord, don't pass me by. The children laughed when they heard about the rocket, but we all had big apple for breakfast. There was not a thing left in the children's socks. Still, they said a prayer for the poor old fox. Let us all say a prayer for each other on Christmas Day. And that's one of my favorite books by Dr. Virginia Garrity. It's called The Gullah Night Before Christmas. And that Santa Claus was the old rabbit. And the big house now was the plantation owner's house. And like I said, Yeti means to hear, reindeer means reindeer, hat means a ghost. Make fun means play a joke. Make fun, make fun. Fire poker is a fire poker. And I have a make ace has to hurry. I got to give chase and try to catch him. And when he take his foot in his hand, that means that the fox took his foot in his hand to hurry. And he making manners, like I said, he wanted to be very polite. Christmas gift, an old Christmas custom when two people greet on Christmas Day. The first one to say Christmas gift receives a gift from the other. Not and then, there. Nothing then, there. There is nothing is there. And still yet means still. And a Gullah Christmas is, I hope you enjoyed it very much. And I hope you enjoyed talking about that old Santa Claus rabbit. Of course, in our time, we talked about Santa Claus. And our favorite thing to do, like I said, on Christmas Day was to share those gifts and candies and all those different things. And my father's thing was to teach us the love of Jesus and what the real reason for Christmas was. And the real reason that is Christ was born on Christmas Day. And my father would always lead us with Silent Night, Holy Night, all is calm, all is bright, round the Virgin Mother and Child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. And lots of other things, but most of all, in the early decades of the 20th century, Southern African Americans were in the midst of a massive migration north. They were in a migration north, and they carried their music with them. Chicago became the center of gospel music in the 1920s and the 30s with the arrival of Thomas A. Dorsey. He was called the father of gospel music. Dorsey composed over 400 songs in his career, including his most famous, Precious Lord, Take My Hand, which was written after he lost all members of his family by drowning. And the song was also a favorite of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And Thomas A. Dorsey, like I said, he was a Christian man. He loved Christmas. He loved people. He shared with everybody. And so, you know, on Christmas time, it's a time of sharing, a time of caring. And like I said, I remember we came up, you know, poor, but my parents still made us happy. So we might have been poor and everything, but we were a very happy family. Now, laughter was a great part of Gullah lives. Laughter to the Gullahs was the best medicine. Laughter made them laugh, and in laughing, they found sort of a peace. And here I brought a laughter for you, and this was a great part, like I said, of Gullah lives. The best medicine, even though their trials were hard and heavy, laughter helped them to make it through. Old Bob, best friend, done died. And you see, when they done died back there in the Gullah time, the people gather from the community and gather around in the house. They come for visit old Bob family. And they sit down, sometimes they sit down all the time through the night. And here old Bob come up, and he come into the house, and he pull up a chair. And in that time, the dead people stays in the house for all through the night and all till time for the funeral. So the friend been lay in the bed, he dead in the bed. Old Bob pull up the chair and he look at his friend and he start for pray. He said, oh Lord, this here is my friend. He said, I know he dead, but if you want to bring him back for life, you can do that. He said, oh, this here is my friend. If you want to bring him back for life, he said, you can do that, yeah. And so the people that sit around in the house and old Bob said, let me pray. And he start for pray. He said, oh Lord, I done say, this here's my friend, and if you want to bring him back for life, you can bring him back. Then all of a sudden everybody got their eye closed and old Bob got his eye closed to pray. And all of a sudden the dead man sat up in the bed. Now somebody in the house look and see the dead man to set up. So he nudged all the other people and everybody slipped out the door, ran out the door, and old Bob still praying. Oh Lord, if you want to bring him back, you can bring him back. Old Bob happened to open his eye and see the dead man that sat up in the bed, and all the people going out the room. He run over to the corner and he grabbed the fire poker and he said, if a door lay back down, I'll kill you again. And they're all, they love the Gullah stories. And it's a beautiful thing to laugh. And that laughter just made them something special. And Gullah, like I said, the mother tongue of the African people, a mixture of the various African dialects and the English language. Gullah today, not too many people speak the Gullah language, but it is still very prevalent, very much among us, especially in Beaufort, South Carolina area. Every year they have that Beaufort, every year they have that presence over in Beaufort where the people get together and they speak Gullah and they sell different types of foods, and everything is just wonderful. And like I said, I am so happy to be here today. I'm so glad that you all invited me, and just to get that Gullah feeling. And usually when I do my Gullah stories, sometimes I get lost for words because there's something else that I feel God wants me to say. And so I love the Lord. He is the best thing that ever happened to me. My mother and my father, they are deceased, and they were the best things that ever happened to me. And we have to realize who God is, especially in the time of the COVID, the pandemic, and these things are happening to us that have never happened to us before. And we're living in some serious times. And we have to realize that God is among us, and He knows exactly what's going on. And there are people now that are sick, people that are dying, there are families that are grieving, and they've lost their loved ones and don't know, right now what's happening and what to do. So we have to really know that I believe that we're living in what we call the last days. And we have to be serious about everything that's going on now. God wants us to be serious. Of course, He wants us to laugh, and laughter helps us to be serious. And I just love knowing that we have a Father that we can look up to, and He knows exactly what's in our hearts. He knows exactly what's happening and what's going to happen. We don't need to be afraid we don't need to be upset. We need to seek God, seek His Word, and then He will show us and tell us what to do. But I sure do hope that, Christmas is very, very special to each and every one of you, and that we really know the reason for the season. And I sure is glad honor for tuning in here today. And I done thank Sister Hedda, and I done thank Brother Milton, and I done thank Brother Willie and Sister Willie. And I'm so glad for be here with Anna, and for know that Anna from the Philadelphia area, and I got people there in Philadelphia area, and I've been to Philadelphia, done love the place, love the people, and so glad Anna people done come down here for visit we here and to stay with me in Georgetown. But most of all, I just love everybody. Thank you for having me, and that's all I got to say about the Gullah.
Thank you very much, Gloria, for sharing with us. Now you have a tambourine on your lap for a reason. Is there something you're going to sing or play, or I don't want to cut in on your tambourine.
Oh well, no. I had this here, and then I did. Every time I feel the spirit, and usually I just they get up and they run around and they walk around. So I figure I ain't for doom. But if you want me for doom, I doom now.
Yes, please.
Every time I feel the spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Every time I feel the spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Merry Christmas.
A few questions, if I may. It's very interesting in the Night Before Christmas story, the part about the fox and the rabbit. Is that a constant theme in Gullah stories?
Yeah, Dr. Virginia Garrity wrote that story, and that became, I think, a constant theme in the Gullah stories. That was my first time hearing about the Santa Claus rabbit and the fox. And I was so amazed by her talent. And she loved Gullah. And like I said, we were supposed to get together, and she was supposed to teach me some things, but the Lord called her home, and which was sad, but she was a beautiful lady.
Did your great-grandmother share stories with you? Like that kind of a story, obviously not necessarily a Christmas one, but stories of involving animals or other, people. Was that a part of what she would share with you?
I remember her sharing with us. I had older siblings, but I was younger, and she would share about her Christmas time. And she talked about the candy and the fruit, and how the people them, they come out for Christmas. And I don't remember too much about her sharing about the animals. And there was one thing I did remember, now I forgot, but she talked about Christmas and the fire, and how they make up the fire in the chimney, and how they come out with the food and they go to the woods, and sometimes they catch the rabbit and the other animal, they cook them, and they had cooked possum and raccoon. Now, I never had the possum, but I certainly had the raccoon. It was delicious. I mean, what they would do is that they would bake it in the oven, and then they would sort of, let me see what you call that word. Anyway, they kind of hashed it. They made it into a hash. And it was the most delicious thing I had ever tasted. But they loved Christmas. It was something very special to them.
If I recall correctly, at New Year's, there's special Gullah foods that are eaten as you go into New Year. And I think that's correct. And then also, are there special Christmas foods, or?
Well,
other than raccoon and possum.
the cakes, they would bake the different cakes. Like I said, my father, he was a real baker. He could bake, and he would do the jelly cakes. He would take the jelly, and then he would layer the cakes, put the jelly and bananas in between. And it was a delicious treat.
Ooh, I can taste that.
Yeah, during Christmas it really was a delicious treat. And what else did you ask me just now?
Also, New Year's.
New Year's, yes. We would have what we call Hoppin' John.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure many people have it now. And it's the peas. We would use field peas from the field. And we would use ham hocks. And you would boil the ham hock, pull it got nice and tender. And then you would mix the field peas with the ham hocks. And you would take like a cup of rice and put it into that mixture.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would take like 2 cups of water and mix it. And then it would cook up, and the rice and the ham hock, the field peas would all cook together. And then we would have collard greens. And collard greens and ham hock. Collard greens was to represent the money that we were supposed to inherit during the new year. and so it's still delicious. I cook it every New Year's Eve. And
So for coming into 2021, we really should have that. We need that, beside prayer.
oh yeah, that's the greatest thing. Yep, that's the greatest thing. Yeah.
That's neat. Also, you've mentioned and sang, appreciate that so much. Are there Gullah Christmas songs? And, in other words, distinctive from
Silent Night and songs like
yeah.
that. Probably so. But I didn't learn any. Like my great grandmother, she lived to be 117.
What was her secret?
Well, everybody asks me that when I tell that story, and I said, they planted tobacco, maybe, and she smoked tobacco, so maybe she's.
Maybe that's not the best advertisement.
Yeah, but she really lived to be that old. And,
But there's no particular Christmas songs that you know of.
Not really.
And I'm interested also, you've mentioned your father several times, that he does the cooking. Was that, that's wonderful. I don't mean to be gender assigning here, but it's a very, I think that's beautiful that he did a lot of the cooking.
But not only did he do that, during the Easter season, we would have different hairstyles, and we would call them braids. We call them plaits, but now we call them braids. And my father would do our hair, the girls.
Wonderful.
He would braid our hair. He would go, and sometimes he treated my mother so well. He would go and buy our Easter clothes, and he was just the greatest person. And I really miss him a whole lot. And he loved Christmas.
What a wonderful story and testimony.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank the Lord.
Indeed.
Yes, yes.
Did you continue these traditions with your children as they were growing up?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Usually my father would go to the woods and cut down the Christmas tree. We had pines then. We lived in the country, and me and my children, we always have Christmas trees, and the decorations we sing, and we decorate the yards, and we cook the food. So we always enjoy Christmas.
Did you continue to live in the North Santee community?
No. I lived there until I graduated from high school. And I had a sister and her family in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh.
And I went to live in Brooklyn for a while. And the one thing about Christmas in New York, New York people are some strange people, and they always get their voice across or whatever. And they're so grumpy, but Christmas time, it is a different time altogether. You pass New Yorkers on the street, they say Merry Christmas, and they're just the most loving people I have ever seen during Christmas time. And I really enjoyed living in New York. And then from there, later I got married, and I went to live in Germany.
Oh.
And now the Christmas in Germany is beautiful. Just snow coming down the hills with the sleighs. And the people, they decorated with candles and stuff on the trees. Germany's very, very clean. And I really enjoyed it. and from Germany back to the United States, and I've lived in Virginia and all sorts of different places. But you know, I'm blessed.
We're so glad you're back here.
Well, I'm glad to. I'm glad to. Thank you.
That's very, very nice. You mentioned about the Beaufort area and the continuation of Gullah, some of the Gullah culture, traditions, and obviously the language. Do you see that continuing? You know, concern for the next generation. Is it going to continue on? You had the blessing of your great-grandmother.
Yes.
And
yes.
grandmother and parents
Yes.
who would have continued some of that tradition, yourself as well. What do you see for the future
Well,
of the Gullah culture?
I think Gullah culture is always going to be around. And even now, we had a young lady from the Beaufort area, and her name was Queen Quet, and she is the queen of the Gullahs. And she went before Congress, and she pleaded our cause. And we have what we call the Gullah Corridor. I'm not saying it exactly like it should be, but yeah, Gullah is it's gonna be around. It's getting to be well known, and people are trying to teach it to their children, and it's just something special about that Gullah. It's just something special. I think it's from God, and I think He, you know, He knows exactly what's going on, and that Gullah is always going to be here with us.
A very brave group of people willing to come up with a language to be able to communicate with each other.
Yes.
Despite their different language backgrounds and their English context in which they found themselves enslaved.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they would borrow from the English language when they were on the plantations, and they couldn't get about to communicate and, you know, and go places where they were supposed to go, wanted to go. And they would borrow from the English spoken on the plantation, mix it with their dialects, and then, you know, Gullah became prevalent here. And it's still going to be around, because I believe, you know, like you said, there are people of God, they trusted God, and God is in the plan, in the picture, and yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think it's a Gullah Historic Corridor or something like that.
Yeah, historic.
Whatever but it's a federal sponsored program,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
great. You see a number of references down in Beaufort, and then also we have the Gullah Chamber here that's working hard to
Right,
maintain that.
working very hard.
Yeah, to do good things. Marilyn and others who are involved with that. Very good. Well, I want to thank you so much.
Oh, thank
What
you
a
too.
wonderful way to celebrate Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
And you bring together all the cultural experiences of New York City and Germany, and to be able to have it here as well to celebrate the Gullah Christmas. Thank you, Gloria.
Well, thank
what a
you.
special. And Merry Christmas to you
Thank
and
you.
your family.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And to you and your family.
Thank you. And may your New Year's Day meal bring you great blessing
Thank
for
you.
2021.
All right, I believe it will. For everybody who tries it.
Well, we want to thank you very much for joining us today, and hope that this has been a blessing. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing your heart. Thanks for sharing your passion with us, and that's really a wonderful way to be able to begin end this year and begin 2021. As I said, we've been doing things creatively and differently, trying to be positive in this very difficult and challenging time, as Gloria mentioned. And we particularly would like to encourage you to take a look at our Yuletide home tour. Yuletide Reflections, we're calling it this year. We annually have a second Saturday in December, a tour of historic homes here in Georgetown. Unable to do that this year, but we made it a virtual tour. And 8 homeowners and 2 of our churches opened up their doors to us to be able to go and video their beautiful environment inside and some outside as well, and to see the lights downtown. And well, it's just a nice way to celebrate the holidays. And we encourage you to take a look at that. You'll find that on the library's website, Facebook page as well. And in fact, Gab was nice enough to post it on their site as well. But a nice, about a 45-minute tour of Georgetown that'll just put you in the holiday spirit. And we encourage you to take a look at that. And we've been blessed with, again, great technology and great hospitality by many within our community, including our mayor. We appreciate that, and others who have been very, very hospitable in allowing us to be able to visit their homes. We encourage you to take a look at that video, Yuletide Home Tour, Yuletide Reflections. And also, our series continues in January. On January 19th is our next Tuesdays with lecture. And we're privileged to have at that time Jim Lee, who is the Education and Outreach Coordinator at the Tom Yawkey Wildlife Center. And Jim's going to be sharing with us the Yawkey family, their impact on Georgetown County. An interesting historical perspective that I know you'll enjoy, and Jim's an excellent speaker. It'll be a very, very good time together. And so we encourage you to do that. We'll be sending out announcements on that, and also we'll have that posted on our website very, very soon. We do want to wish you all season's greetings. And as we're in the midst of Hanukkah right now, Hanukkah greetings, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank
and
you.
again, Gloria, thanks so very much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Mhm.